of 5 to 7, well, let's do this. If they're a 6, I'm going to give you a specific number. If they're a 6, what I want you to write down is 6 equals 2. Nobody gives you a 2. They always give you 6s. And we feel very good about the 6s. I made a presentation at the Sandler Summit, and we were talking about this to about 1,200 people. And I said, now when you're out on a date, when you're single, and you ask someone to evaluate how the date went, and they give you a 6, 6 equals 2. Because nobody says this was a disaster. And so I want you to think of this the same way. In that 5 to 7 range, continue with the presentation, but you've got to figure out where we really are. And you've got to recognize that anything 6 or below is a major question mark. And so when someone gives me a 6 or below, here's what I say. I must have missed something major. What did I miss? I must have missed something major. What did I miss? And then, here's the under 5. With such a low number, I feel you have no interest in what I've just presented. Is that the case? So, this is one of the keys to making good presentations, is understanding the numeric scoring system that you want people to give you. I'm going to ask you to spend time at table on this specific slide, and I want you to tell me the challenges that you might face if you're going to execute this. So what are some challenges, some things that you may be afraid of when you're asking, or you can even say this, a friend of mine would be afraid of. Let's go with that, not you. So a friend of mine may struggle with this. And so just at table, how could this help you, and what could a friend of yours struggle with in doing this, all right? At table, 5 minutes. Go.
First thing comes to mind is if they make you do 10, you don't have anything else in your bag of tricks. I mean, it's just, I guess the general fear is not having. Well, I guess that's where it's flipped. How do you
Your litmus test to see where you stand.
Oh, yeah.
Against the competitor.
Whoever I'm talking to might be uncomfortable giving you an answer.
Or it's a great segue into going back to something,
I
want to be nice.
or,
No, it's true.
I must have missed
I want you to,
it.
that's a good learning point for everybody.
6 or whatever, or 7. But I
No one's
missed
ever
it might
gonna give
be,
you a 2.
oh, we don't like this, or
So we celebrate the
whatever.
6. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sure.
I have to walk.
Say like,
Because
okay,
if you
yeah.
miss it, you can segue into that.
Yeah.
Cover whatever.
You sent me a player.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My only fear is that it's too below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2
How
or
do you,
below?
how do you like come up from that?
They're good, but I don't know if they're perfect.
That's when you just
Oh, yeah.
cut bait and leave.
I like the, I could see myself saying, they said it's 6, and like,
If it's like under a 5,
it's
they're actually not.
6 usually equal to 2, but I don't want to let you down.
Shit.
No,
That would totally throw me off. I'd be like,
there's something
why
I
is
missed,
that
or
wrong?
we just
Right.
way off.
Yeah.
You gotta use
Yeah.
reflection and,
Right.
Take any number professionally, take any number bravely.
yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean,
Have the courage to look them in the eye.
Exactly.
I think I used to be afraid of like 2, but like, if it's, if it's really a 2,
Yeah, that's interesting.
then I also know more time I should probably invest in it.
Yeah, like, where are we at?
Right.
I'm tired of ridiculous, excuse me, I'm tired of messing with things in my pipeline that, go
Or
on.
leading you this way when really they're thinking that way. And
Should be
it's
presenting
hard to
it.
pick stuff like that, especially if we're doing stuff where it's like,
Yeah.
you can't get their body language.
For sure.
All right, die down a little bit, give me some feedback. Tell me about that slide and some thoughts you have either to make it work or to have me help you make it work.
I said it's scary to say things that are really personal to people.
Isn't it true?
So that's my biggest fear, is just reopening the wound, if you will. So that's.
It's is it what you say or how you say it that's scary?
Probably how,
Yeah.
for me, it's what I'm saying, but if I know how to say it, then it's not so scary.
So when you say anything on that slide, I want you to drop your tonality 1/2 octave. What I'd like you to do is, that expresses a little bit of struggle. So I want you to be very uncomfortable out loud. You know, this is a difficult question for me to ask you, is what I used to have to say 22 years ago. But I still have to ask you. So if it offends you, I'll apologize up front. What do they always say? Go ahead and ask me. And so struggle on purpose in front of them. It'll make you feel comfortable, make them feel comfortable too. All right? And it gives you permission not to be perfect when you ask these questions. And so I tell people, it's a difficult question for me to ask, but I know it's important. Somebody else? Brenda, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just kind of more so if you have maybe one person who rates you lower than the rest, what's some of the questions that you could?
So you're presenting to a group,
Yeah.
and one person rates you low. And so I always ask the question that I just did with Susie. It sounds to me like I might have missed some things with you that I hit with others. And so I'm not gonna ask them why they rated me higher, but I'm curious, what would I have addressed with you that would have changed your rating? And so I want you to be specific with me in the response. And you know, now they realize I'm personalizing it. I'm not attacking them, but I'm saying I may have hit some tones with your partners that I didn't hit with you. So I want you to think about it. What specifically could I have addressed with you that would have changed the rating? And notice I'm not saying raise the rating. All I'm saying is change, because then it's not salesy.
Yeah.
We don't want to come across as salesy in any of the moves that we're making, any of the strategies we're employing.
Of course, you always have to be willing to walk if you know it's not gonna work.
Do it.
But if a 6, so in a 6 is a 2, I completely agree. If you find it's a 6 or below or a 2 or it's not working, but you still think there's some window to resuscitate.
Yep.
What type of questions, like the last ditch or something along those lines?
I always say, you know, I've been in this business a long time, and here's what I find. Many times I misread information. So I want you to think a little bit about what I may have misread in what the information that you gave me that made you feel like it didn't hit the mark. And so I fall on my sword. The move is the fall on your sword move, so you don't make them, the chief stands alone, right? So you take it on your shoulders. And so mine is a fall on your sword. I must have missed something and misread something you said. Maybe you can help me out. Take a minute and just share with me what you were thinking in the presentation that said I missed it. And so it's more conversational, it's that half octave lower, so I'm not judging them, I'm not trying to confront them, but I'm taking it on my shoulders that I screwed up, not that they screwed up, okay?
Can you ask how your competition ranks?
I never do that, and it's probably not a bad thing to do. And so, you know, did my competition score differently? You could do that, it may be salesy, but you have to be careful.
Differently, yeah.
Yeah.
Differently is better than better or worse.
That's where I would go. I would stay out of that better or worse scale, the yes or no scale, and just go to different. And so, did they address it differently that made you feel more comfortable with what they said?
Yeah,
Now, that's the kind of combination of what Bob said and what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah? I can do that, I can say that for sure. By the way, I hadn't thought about that, so good for you. Chuck?
Could you get like a lot of no response? I mean, how can you force your audience to rate you?
In that ultimate contract, it's the yes or no. So I'll come back to that after I've established that that ultimate contract is in place. We agreed we would say yes or no.
Oh,
Chuck,
okay.
you've been sitting here quietly. It's difficult for me to realize. Are you thinking about a yes or a no, or are there other things we should address?
Mhm.
So that ultimate contract, that's why we said it, is so people just can't sit there quietly. And that's why done the right way, it's the roadmap to getting information and to using the presentation as a sales document, not just an education document. People who sit there quietly are saying, go ahead, dazzle me, educate me, that's all I came for. And then it's not a sales document.
And then one of the other, sorry.
No, please.
As I was thinking about it, is, what would scare my friend?
Yeah.
And it's, when you got a bad rating and you didn't have an answer,
Yep.
that was scary. Now,
go
I guess
ahead.
it's with all these questions and reversals. I mean, I'm the new guy, I'm still.
That's what you
Is
should
that
be
Is that
asking.
what this is, what scares me is not having an answer.
you would have questions, and so, what number of classes is this for you? 2?
One.
All right, you missed a class on questioning skills. We're gonna teach you questioning skills here that are going to make you realize that you don't have to have the answer, you just have to have the question. So
Right.
we're gonna teach you reversing and things like that that you don't know anything about right now, that will allow you to stay in control. Who's your coach?
Well, he's from.
I'm your coach, and so you're stuck with me. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to get on my calendar, with Ashley, and Ashley can put them on there. Let's do 20 minutes, and I'll give you the headlines when it comes to questioning strategies, okay? So that you don't miss anything else. Anybody else who has missed a class that you think is critical, get with your coach. If you don't have a coach, get with me, and let's get you up to speed so we're not causing you issues of learning. You and I are gonna do the same thing. All right? Does that help? Beauty. Fourth element we talked about, as soon as the scale reaches 10, stop talking and ask, what would you like me to do now? If they don't know, give them options. You could say, Bill, you're way off base. You could say, Bill, I'd like to have a contract. You could say, but prompting them means not telling them, giving them options in there. And the options still come back to the ultimate contract. You can tell me no, or you can tell me yes at this point. And then when they respond affirmatively, you know, you just have to remain calm. Yeah, this is like you've been in the end zone before. Don't spike the ball at this point. Last compartment of the submarine is called post-sell. Most people don't have the guts to do the post-sell. 87% of human beings have buyer's remorse. Salespeople are typically afraid to deal with buyer's remorse, so they ignore it. And here's what we learned. In today's internet banking world, you cannot outdrive a stop payment to the bank. And so most people have remorse, some people act on it. Why take that chance? And so what I always ask, once they agree to do business with me, this is a key question, and this should make you cringe a little bit. Is there any reason, after I leave, why you would regret doing business with me or change your mind? Is there any reason, after I left, why you would regret saying yes to me or change your mind? Because that's a professional post-sell move. And it's the move that most people don't have the guts to make because they're thinking they're going to cause that to happen. You can't cause something to happen that wasn't in their mind. But you can't deal with something in their mind if you're not there. So, oh, you had your hand up before, Mike. Did I ignore you?
No, it's good.
You sure?
Yeah.
It's not too late.
No, it's good.
Okay. And so that question is a monster question. But I really want you to think the benefit of asking that question is you get to hear it in front of you. Because, you know, here are the things that are going to be key. They've got to cancel your competitors. They've got to tell your competitors no. And by the way, what's the first thing a competitor says when they find out they lost the deal? Hey, I can beat their price. And so you need to hear if that's going to happen after, let's hear it now. You have to be able to deal with the incumbent vendor, the person you're taking the business from, because what do they hear when the prospect says to them, I'm doing business with Bartlett? Bartlett, you don't even know him. We have a 14-year relationship. I've watched your kids grow up. You have to be able to deal with that. Now, these two things should be able to be said out loud to you when they're in front of you. Here's how I'm going to tell the competition. Here's what I'm going to say to the incumbent. If they can't say it out loud in front of you, they're never going to say it out loud after. And by the way, not to be a smart aleck, but I often volunteer to tell my competitors or to tell the incumbent that they're out. So I'll save you the aggravation if you'd like. I'd be happy to, and see keeping the smile off my face. But many times people have said, would you do that?
Really?
Have you?
Say it?
Have you?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, that's
to,
gotta be amazing.
it is the most incredible experience in the world. I talked to
Oh, geez.
Achieve Global. We took a major piece of business away from them. And the client that we have said, no, I don't think I have the spine to do that. And I said, well, you want me to do it? He said, well, you said, you mean you'd really do that? I went, yeah. So when I called him up, it wasn't with a smile on my face. It was simply Bill Bartlett from Sandler Training. What's up, Bill? I'm calling to tell you that you lost the HP deal. Why would you call to tell me that? And I always say very, very kindly, because my client had that much respect for you that they were going to struggle telling you that, so they've asked me to do it. And he said, well, I'm calling them. I said, sure. But you think they're gonna say something different to you than I said? I'm just trying as a competitor to say to you, I respect the battle that we had, and we won. And so, you know, what are you doing at that point? I respect, and I'm doing it professionally, not you're out, where, suck it. And so, I think the idea is simply, you have to have the guts to do it professionally if you do it. And many times they ask you to do it. Something else, you have to establish ground rules for the future. You should be onboarding them immediately. You should have your other players in your company, call them up and congratulate them. Welcome to the business. We always have Lindsay call and say, you know, Bill just told me that we're your new client. I want to tell you I'm here, I have marketing, I'm here to help you. And so, you know, put some hooks into them immediately. Don't wait. And putting hooks in them means get some IOUs. Hey, who's calling, here's what we're doing. Upfront contract for what happens next. Too many times people change their mind in the first 20 days after the project has started. And so your upfront contract, here's how we're gonna deal with problems. No relationship is problem-free. This is our escalation policy. Once we're aware of a problem, here are the steps we take. And then lastly, how do you get future business? Ask for referrals at that time. By the way, you're at the high point of your relationship with them at that point. You can only go downhill. So that's when you ask for relationships based on the fact that you have conducted a professional sales call on them. And so you're entitled to referrals and to future business with them. What does future business look like? However, you're going to expand it over time. Now, these referrals close at a 90% rate. So if you're not getting referrals from the people that you're closing, you're leaving money on the table. They know people. Jessica?
Is there like an example of how you would come, like, can you say?
Sure. Here's what I always say. Jessica, thanks for doing business with us. You know, we believe this is a quality relationship, and I'm really looking forward to doing business with you and to helping you solve your problems. I want you to think about the problems that I'm helping you solve. I want you to focus on them just for a minute. Is there anybody else in your life who may be facing the same issues that you and I are working on? And would you be willing to introduce me to them? Facing the same issues that you and I are working on, would you be willing to introduce me to them? It's called putting you on the tee.
It's so much better than the, you know, financial planner
Yeah.
referral request.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you have any other people that you know recommend? I'm like,
Beautiful. Are there any other relationships in your life I can ruin for you?
I had mine actually send me a list of my LinkedIn contacts that he would like to.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is very bold.
No, I've had that happen. You know, it's just, people done the wrong way, and you have the best example of it, it's offensive. Done the right way, who may be facing the problems I'm helping you solve? Think about the power of that statement. Not whose wallet can I get into, but who may be facing the same issue. Here's why it works, because the issues are fresh in their mind right now. They're still dealing with the fact that they finally found someone to solve their pain.
Can I go like after the fact, like a month?
Sure you can.
Okay. Like,
Woke up in the middle of the night, here's what I was thinking. Shame on me for not talking to you about something I find is very important. Let me ask you this, what's the #1 reason you chose to do business with me? Well, Bill, you're helping me solve these problems. Well, who else in your life might be facing the same problem that you'd like me to help?
I did that in a kickoff meeting for a new project last week.
Tell me
The
about it.
First thing I go, instead of intros, because we've all met and talked to each other, let's tell each other why we're working together. And it was
Isn't that powerful?
Powerful, yeah, it was good stuff.
Good for you. How did it go?
It was good, they were kind of reinforced exactly like the kind of thinking that they appreciated from us, and vice versa. We're like, this is why we're excited to work with you guys too.
Very cool, Mike. Well done. And those are the success stories we want to hear from you. The stuff when you go out there and stick it out there a little farther, nice going. All right, just final conversation at table. tell your table mates some ideas that you have that you think they should know. I'm gonna pass out the course evaluation sheet, and then I'll tell you a few last things and release you into the wild.
I was breaking.
Well,
That's why I like this crossing
it's
It's like a light bulb.
there's all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff
for sure.
that
And I made it
people are
Hey,
scared of.
Bill?
Yeah.
I was late Hanford.
But again, when you get to that point, it's like you've
Sure.
earned all kinds of rights.
It's not a problem for me, believe me, so thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And even if
Remember, we get the white copies, you get the yellow copies. Don't worry about telling us you love us, tell us what you're gonna do.
That's there, we're out, here's the kind of, we sign it, but then at the same time, you have to do this function. Why you sign them all crap?
Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you guys too. Nice to
Thanks.
meet you.
Yeah,
So
you
you're gonna
too.
see you next week?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Safe drive.
So Daddy,
I mean, just to bring that.
you taking that to the car yet?
Chit chat.
Put in my files.
No, give Ashley the white, and then so, oh yeah, go ahead and put it in your file next week if you want, all right?
Right.
Thank you. Just no for him.
Yes. Okay.
It's there.
Those of you who are staying around, Ashley's gonna conduct a Sandler Online class, as she let me know with her email. We're gonna focus your energies on Sandler Online to really make sure you get the most out of it. So she'll tell you what she's going to do at 2:45 here in a minute. But some other things that are important. If you're interested in the book deal of the day, it's the closed deal book. It's $15 today if you're interested. This is Sandler in list form. All kinds of different things in here that are lists on building relationships, asking questions, how to make presentations work. You're welcome to spin through it, but for you today it's $15. The challenge for the class. The challenge is challenge yourself to qualify, close, and present. Don't qualify, present, and close. So make sure you find paying money and decision before you present. Paying money and decision are a closed sale. Our Sandler Online topic for you is Presenting to the Non-Decision Makers by Dave Mattson. Those of you who have been here for a while know that Strategic Customer Care is being taught in September. If you're interested in attending, or if you know somebody, you can talk to Ashley about it. Next week's class is one of my favorites. It's called Improving Your Batting Average, and we're really going to focus on success, behavior, attitude, and technique of success. One more handout for you. These are the 31 debrief questions that go with the classes. Now, you've not been to all the classes, but I'd ask you to keep this. We give it out now no matter how far you are in the program. But 31 questions that we teach you the answers to that you should be briefing and debriefing your sales call with. See your coaches about this if you have questions. Go to.
Each class we do, like the person who took away from the class, and then basically what you're gonna start doing is stop. So, I'm gonna start asking the 1 to 10. See how it goes.
Start, stops are what we're going to focus on as well as action, so that's how you get out of the room.
What is behind the paying the money?
Paying money and decision are a closed sale, which means they've earned the right to a presentation. Those of you, this is your first day, you're going to repeat this class. It'll make more sense to you. So this is going to be a 10-session foundation for you. It'll make more sense to you second time around, and so plan on repeating this class, okay? Good. let's share some genius. Somebody can start. Start, stop, and action plans. What are you gonna do about this?
I'm gonna start with the, like, the ultimate contract thing is great for me. Just like in a meeting I know they should be able to make a decision. I'm gonna start asking for that.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna stop assuming that I'm addressing pain without explicitly asking. And then the action for this week, I'm gonna teach my team a little bit of the presenting specific lessons.
Good.
Because I think they over-present a lot.
And many do, because we feel good about the information we have, right, Mike? Well done, Daryl.
Yeah, I was thinking, same thing about ultimate contract, but we were doing a call from Friday morning, and when I got another player that showed up, we didn't have an ultimate contract, it was 0 to 10.
Yep.
Earlier on, he'd said, I'm the decision maker, but these people are involved, but I'll be making a decision. And then Friday, it was, got the budget, timing makes sense, we went back through the pains. But I'm gonna have to get my boss to approval.
There you go.
So is he here? Let's go and talk to him. Great idea was want his lights off in his office. So we're at this place of, he's gonna talk to him today.
No man's land, right?
But it's ultimately to think it over. Even though he said, I'm gonna recommend it, you're left without anything.
And that's that uncomfortable feeling is you do have nothing at that point. So how do you push that reset button on it and start the
And
process?
so in hindsight, the very beginning class, he said 2 separate proposals.
Yes.
And I had a price in my proposal, I'm wondering if it's different if I didn't.
All human beings, if price is there, go to price first. And so if it's not there, they can't. And I always say to someone, I'm gonna make 2 presentations because price won't matter if you don't like what I'm going to do to solve the problem. So why don't we agree on one and then we'll figure out what you should pay for it secondarily. Good for you, Daryl. Good learning, Mike.
My lesson learned is actually the importance of all the steps and how they come together in that final process.
Nice.
So I will start asking the prospect to rate how well I've addressed their issues.
Good.
And then I'm just gonna stop assuming their pain.
It's a big deal. I mean, I think experience, this is not your first day at the rodeo, so you've got a ton of experience, but it's your experience, not theirs. And so for them to do Matt's point, vocalize and validate, is really a game changer for everybody. Matt?
Ultimate contract, even though, we're at that stage where we've earned the business and earned all kinds of credentials addressing the ultimate contract. And then also, I feel like I'm prepared, but I'll stop being as unprepared as I may think I am in my own head, but
Well, it's always good to check in, right? I mean, it's, again, not your first day at the track, so I think the issue is, how do we make sure we're not making assumptions based on experience? So that check-in, and many times people will create a checklist before too, of these are the 10 things that I should be doing, so you hold yourself accountable to that.
Yeah.
Susie?
I'm in like kindergarten here with the sandwich.
Good.
So, just to be totally honest, so I got this prospect who emailed me looking for pricing. I sent him a proposal for price, and I felt terrible about myself.
Sure, you should shower after you do that.
So I got another email, and I set up a meeting.
Good.
So that meeting's happening Wednesday, and I'm a little terrified, but I'm
Good.
be, brave, 5 seconds at a time.
5 seconds at a time,
and
Susie.
Read through my notes before I go in there, and so hopefully that'll, but a lot of these things I write down each week, I will start doing and stop doing. I feel like I'm not even making it to those steps.
It's okay.
So that's where I'm at.
You
with
stuck
that.
with us for a long time, so it's okay. You have to learn this all in a
Takes a
couple
long time for
sessions.
things to kind of
Let it
bounce around in
happen.
there before they start coming out.
Let it flow, let it happen, you'll be fine. Walk toward the light, you'll be fine. Michelle?
For my start, when I'm asked for a presentation, my answer's gonna be, let me tell you how that works, instead of just rushing to it.
Nice, here's how you get one, right?
And I will stop doing qualified present and close.
Nice, well done, 2 good learning points. Jessica?
Finding the pain, the money, and the decision close process, and then I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna start asking the fulfillment element stuff. So then action is referrals, and then the 2 separate proposals.
Nice, all good learning points. And again, slowly, one piece at a time. Brenda?
I said that I'm going to start asking the scale of 1 to 10 on how I address the pain points. And I'm going to stop making lengthy presentations just because my boss says so.
Nice. Tell him that your trainer, Bob Barlow.